Blog Talk Radio.
Broadcasting from Cincinnati, you're listening to the Ringside Reporter Podcast. All the news from the world of boxing right here.
Well, I'm talking to you the way I want to talk to you.
Now, here's your host, Eric Lorda.
And we are live. Welcome to the Ringside Reporter Podcast, where we talk about the latest boxing news. If it's related to boxing, we're going to talk about it right here. My name is Eric Lorta, and I'm here with my co-host Ringside Robert and England's adopted son Joe Habib. And we have a great show for you today. And as always, you can catch us on the web at www.ringsidereporter.com. If you want to call and ask questions or just give your 2 cents, you can call in right now at 323-870-3857. That's 323-870-3857. And if you hit option 1, you can talk to us. And just a reminder, if you download the show at all, if you download the show from iTunes, it will be commercial-free, completely commercial-free. Today we're going to talk about, we've got a new WBC middleweight champion, and he didn't even have to throw a punch to get the title. How about that?
Way to go.
Yeah, right? Canelo Alvarez is being skewered on social media for giving up the belt without a fight. We'll really go into that. And Adrian Broner, AB, drops his new video appropriately called Slammer. But first, we get started with the fights this weekend, man. Erislandy Lara-Vanes Martirosyan. This was a rematch of their November 12th technical draw. WBA super welterweight world champion Erislandy Lara faced Vanes Martirosyan in 12 rounds on Saturday night at the Cosmopolitan in Las Vegas. Not really it doesn't really seem like a big fight should take place at the Cosmopolitan, but whatever. Lara looked really good in this fight. He used his mobility just like normal. It was a typical Lara fight, man, but I got to be honest, man. I thought that Vanes Martirosyan really put up a good fight in this. I mean, he really did. If, and the scores at the end of the day were 115-112, 116-111 both ways. Vanes was deducted a point in round 11 by referee Vic Draculich for a low blow. But short of that, man, this was a good fight. This was a close fight. I didn't expect it to be this close. What do you think, Robbie?
Eric, I had it scored 115-112 for Lara, and I thought Vanes Martirosyan put up a good fight. I thought it was going to be more. In Lara's favor, but credit to Martirosyan, he actually showed up and put up a competitive fight, and it'll be interesting to see where the American Dream goes from here. He called out Canelo after the fight, but I don't know if we'll get that rematch. I think a rematch is deserved because I scored the first fight for Lara, and I definitely think a Lara Canelo rematch is plausible, but I don't know if we'll get it. So,
do you think? Let me ask you a question. Do you think that Martirosyan just has the style? Because we've seen Erislandy come out and just really whitewash people. Do you think Martirosyan just has the style, kind of has his number in that style-wise?
Yeah,
to put up a good fight. I mean,
I think he's one of the few fighters in that particular weight class that gives Anders Lara, close fights. But I think Lara wins the fight every time that they fight. Like the commentator said last night on Showtime, they could fight 100 times, and 100 times it would be a very close fight.
I agree. Joe, what were your thoughts on this?
It's basically that I think Vanes Martirosyan is like Erislandy Lara's Ken Norton, like Ken Norton was to Ali, and like Juan Manuel Marquez was to Manny Pacquiao. Because every time we saw Manuel Marquez fight, Manny Pacquiao gave him a tough fight, but when he fought other opponents, he didn't do as well as he did against Manny Pacquiao. This is just a tough, rugged style for Erislandy Lara. But the thing is he leaves some of these rounds hanging in the balance. I had the fight 115-112 too, but I'm telling you, you have to really bring your binoculars and your microscope to score Erislandy Lara fights, because it's just so hard to look at these fights because he takes such long periods of time off during the rounds, but he's making his opponent miss so much, and he's being the ring general so much But he frustrates you so much that you kind of want to not give him the round, but you have to give him the round by default because he lands those 1 or 2 punches. It's almost like he's running the four-corner offense in the ring. And it amazes me, too, and it frustrates me. And obviously I'm not in there seeing what's going on during the fight, but it just looks like he can do so much more. You know, because he can land so clean, so sharply when he wants to, when he puts punches together. But for whatever reason, he just decides to throw 1 or 2 punches at a time. And it leaves me scratching my head saying, you know what, he's so much faster than Vanes Martirosyan. He's able to feint Vanes Martirosyan out of his socks. Why can't he just throw more punches? But, you know, an interesting thing when you watch these fights with Erislandy Lara, obviously very slick, slippery, a lot of head movement, a lot of head and shoulder movement, a lot of dipping and ducking at the waist. But one area that does not move is the body. And when he ducks down low, he's looking upward, not looking at the lower half of his opponent's body. So he's anticipating headshots from, coming from upstairs, and he takes his eye up the lower half. So that's how come a lot of times he's getting hit with body shots and uppercuts. And I think that's kind of the blueprint to beat this guy or trouble this guy is go to the body, shoot those shots up and under. Because if you even remember in the Angulo fight, Angulo landed one of those up and under kind of half hook, half uppercut shots up underneath, and he hurt Erislandy Lara, knocked him down. So I think Erislandy Lara is still arguably the best junior middleweight in the world, but he's always going to give you nightmares if you're a judge. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah, I would go along with that. I think he is probably the best 154-pounder out there, no question. I mean, this guy, as good as Martirosyan fought, I still gave Lara the fight. I mean, I still scored at 115, 112 as well. And I mean, as good as Martirosyan fought, man, you just couldn't take it away from him,
Well, if you were the manager and trainer of Lara, what would you do with him next? Would you keep him at 154? Because it looks like he's going to dominate pretty much everybody in the division. Or do you move him up to 160 and see what he could do at middleweight?
Well, there's only one guy at 160, and that guy won't fight him. So, I mean, that's the thing. Erislandy Lara has been calling out Triple G for a long time, and it seems to be the one guy Triple G doesn't have any interest in fighting. Tom Loeffler came out and said, well, this guy, Lara lost to this guy, he lost to this guy, and blah, 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 and he didn't look good against this guy. And, I honestly, I would love to see it because Lara is somebody that, Triple G isn't used to fighting. So, that's not, you had Willie Monroe, but still, Willie Monroe is not Erislandy Lara,
Yeah. No, I think it would be a fascinating matchup, and I would like to see Lara go to 160, and let's see if Triple G for once actually turns down a fight. I know when we had Loeffler on, he didn't sound very interested in having that fight because he made a point of saying the only fighter Triple G would ever drop weight for would be Floyd Mayweather. Well, if Lara goes up to 160, that's out of you don't have to drop weight. He's in the same weight class.
Well, don't you think, excuse me for 1 second, don't you think Triple G's style would be a nightmare for Lara? The way he gets inside and digs to the body and really bends his knees and really shovels those shots up underneath to the body, and those even the short hooks inside. Don't you think those types of punches would be very problematic for Erislandy Lara? Because if these other guys can dig to the body and land on him, what's going to happen when Triple G puts 2 or 3 together downstairs? He's going to take
you bring up a good point, Joe, but also keep in mind Lara moves better than most fighters Triple G fight. So it would be an interesting dynamic. You'd have the defensive Lara, and you'd have the slugger in Triple G. So it would be an interesting contrast of styles, and styles make interesting fights. So I don't know. I'd like to see it somewhere down the road, but I don't know if we ever will. But seriously, if you guys were managing Anders Lara, who would you have him fight next? Because I think he pretty much dominates anybody in that weight class.
I think he just keeps collecting belts. If I were his manager, I would try to get him as many title fights. Try to unify it. You know what I mean? Try to unify some belts, and I think it's kind of like the whatchamacallit, like a Triple G. I guess like the Triple G mentality is that you just keep unifying the belts, and then pretty soon somebody's got to come to you for the title.
Yeah, well, how do you do that when 2 of the guys you basically train with?
Yeah, I mean, that's true. I mean, there's not much he can do. you know.
Yeah.
He trains with one of them, one of the Charlos.
Yeah, that's
I think,
right.
Well, at least one of the Charlos anyway. He doesn't train with both of them, but he trains with one of them. And you know,
Liam,
that's a
what about
tough
a Liam
situation.
Smith? What about a Liam Smith fight? That would be an awesome fight, no?
Well, it's funny that you mentioned Liam
good.
Smith. It's funny you mentioned Liam Smith. I think that'd be an awesome fight. But Liam Smith is targeting Kell Brook, and rumor has it that Canelo is targeting Liam Smith for September.
Wow.
Right?
Wow.
Yeah.
How good is that? How good is that?
That's insane.
So
what about this?
I'm not bad
what
with
about
that.
this one? What about this one? Demetrius Andrade versus Erislandy Lara.
I think that's a good fight.
That would be a good fight. Yeah.
I like that. I like that fight for sure. So, yeah, but I mean, I thought Lara, like I said, man, Lara looked good. Let's talk about the Charlo, man. Let's talk about Jermall Charlo. And this was, I tell you, man, I was surprised at how good he looked, man. He looked amazing against Austin Trout. He beat Trout to the punch numerous times. He landed the harder shot. He looked so much bigger than Trout. It was shocking when they got in the ring how much bigger he looked. Trout won the fight, or not Trout, Charlo won the fight, 115, 113, and 116, 112 twice. I thought Trout looked good, but I thought Charlo looked really good. Charlo was the first one that I saw really take Trout out of his game like that. And Trout, you know, while he put up a good fight, man, he kind of looked his age in there, man.
Yeah, no, he Austin looked really good, but you're right, Eric. For the first time, he kind of looked like he was outclassed. And congratulations to both Charlos for becoming the first set of twin brothers, to hold titles simultaneously in the same weight class. That's the first time that's ever happened in boxing history. So, outstanding. It was nice to see a bit of boxing history last night.
Well, you know, it was amazing because a lot of people, and even myself, I thought that Jermall Charlo would have his way with Trout. I thought the fight would be a little bit easier. I'm glad it was more competitive than I anticipated. But at the end of the day, you could see the body language, the facial expressions on Trout. Every time he got hit with a shot from Charlo, you could see the anguish in his face. You could see him being moved back. You know what I'm saying? I had the fight 116 to 112 too, but I thought Trout had some good moments, did some good counterpunching with the left hand because I think he was timing the jab, and as the jab came out, right before the right hand could follow up from Charlo, he was shooting the left hand out there, and his left hand was getting there before the right hand could get uncorked from Charlo. So he was anticipating things in there. He was reading Charlo's offense very well, but the thing was, every time Charlo hit him, he moved him, he rocked him back, took the wind out of the sails. But when Trout was hitting Charlo, you could see that it wasn't really having that much effect. He was walking through the shots. But I will say, those body shots were starting to pay dividends for Trout because I thought that Charlo slowed up just a bit in the last couple rounds, the championship rounds. But with all that being said, I thought he banked enough of the early ones in there to really warrant a decision in this fight. But some people, believe it or not, were crying robbery. They thought Trout won this fight, and I was amazed by that.
No.
I couldn't see that. I mean,
I had it 117. I had it 117, 111 for Charlo. I thought Charlo. I mean, I couldn't even give Trout that many rounds. Honestly, I gave him 3, and
I gave him 4.
There was nothing. I mean, he really. I mean, he just, like I said, man, he looked outclassed in there, and I've never seen Trout outclassed. And I mean, Charlo was just hitting him hard. He was the bigger fighter. He was bullying him around. I can't see that Trout. No, I mean, there's no way.
I got a great question for you. Do you think that Charlo did a better job against Trout than Lara did?
Yeah, absolutely, he did.
Yeah,
wow.
I do.
Okay.
Yeah. No,
that's interesting.
I had it 116, 112. I picked Trout, and Trout did good in spots, but he didn't do enough to win the fight. And Charlo was the clear winner in my book, and now it sets up a mandatory for him against Julian Williams, and that'll be a hell of a fight.
Man, I tell you what, I would have taken Julian Williams all night until I saw that fight, man, because he looked really good. And now, to me, man, that's kind of a toss-up fight, man. I don't know. I don't know who I would take because I'm a huge J-Rock guy, but wow, Charlo looked good, man. I mean, he looked that good, and to beat Trout like that, I mean, it's one thing because Trout, like I said, is a fighter that can make you look bad. I mean, he had absolutely no problems with him.
And I think Austin still has a lot left. I think he's gonna. I think he's still going to be competitive, and I think he's going to still give competitive fights. He may be older, but anytime you put him in the ring, I think he's always going to give a good show.
I think he's going to give it his all. I don't know how competitive he's going to be with the younger guys. I mean, who could imagine J-Rock in there last night? J-Rock would have took him apart too. Yep. I mean, those are the two top guys. Anybody in 154. I mean, look at Lara. Either but I think that, if he was going to fight a Charlo, he should have fought Jermell.
And we'll talk about that in a minute.
Right, exactly. Let's talk about after the fight here. After the fight, Jamal was being interviewed by Jim Gray when Don King and Charles Hatley entered the ring. Hatley stared down Charlo and then pushed him. Obviously, the two had to be separated. The problem is that Hatley is the mandatory challenger for Jermell, not Jamal, who just finished fighting. Those idiots got in the ring and confronted the wrong Charlo.
Well, they're twins. You got to cut them some slack.
They were only born a couple minutes apart. Yeah, you can't tell them apart. Yeah, exactly. Who let this idiot in the ring anyway? Don King is in there, and Don King, he said, "Yeah, we're ready for you." He's talking to the wrong guy, you moron. I'm like, what are you doing?
Did that remind you of the movie The Great White Hype? Remember when
it totally did.
Wow, remember that when the guy was like kind of trolling? Who was that guy's name? The other champ, the bald-headed guy who was the champ.
What was that guy's name? With Jamie Foxx? It was with Jamie Foxx was his manager?
Yeah, Jamie Foxx was the manager, and he was trolling the other guy, but the other guy was getting ready to fight the Great White Hype. And
I had never heard of Charles Hadley till last night.
Nobody has. That's why he's got to go in there and try to make a name for himself,
Yeah.
Who let this guy – where was security in all this?
I think Showtime might have did that on purpose.
You think it was planned? Think it was staged?
Yeah.
It had to be. I don't know if Charlo thought it was staged, but, I mean, they clearly let him in the ring.
Yeah. But remember when Tyson Fury got in the ring after one of the heavyweight fights? When Wilder fought last time, I think Showtime purposely stages some of those things.
Yeah, I think so too. Yeah, I mean, it's not like, if I'm front row or whatever, I can't just hop the railings and jump in the ring.
No.
They
wouldn't even let Shannon Briggs get close to David Hay after his fight last night, man. What was the deal with that?
Right.
Let's go, champ! Let's go, champ!
Well, they're going to be up close and personal soon enough, so.
Yeah. Right? Let's talk about Jermell Charlo last night. He didn't look all that great. He scored an 8th-round KO over John Jackson, the son of the ring great Julian the Hawk Jackson. A massive Charlo left hook just draped him over the ropes, man, prompted to stop it. Now, I would tell you, up until that point, I had John Jackson winning big.
I did too.
Winning big, man. I had him winning most of the rounds. I thought he was clearly outboxing him, and I was shocked when he hit him with that shot and he went out, man.
He was just born without a chin, I don't know. That's all there is to it. No,
because he flipped him pretty good, man, but still, yeah exactly.
Yeah, John Jackson, man, because he did the same kind of performance against Andy Lee. He was looking really good, way ahead on the scorecards, and out went the lights. But no, he looked really good last. Too bad for him that he don't know how to take a punch.
Yeah, it's not really something you can teach.
That was so bizarre. Like, wouldn't you expect him to take a knee at least and try to regather himself? And what was the deal about fiddling with his mouthpiece when he got hit in the eye, not in the mouth? Maybe he got hit in the eye, that it just kind of knocked everything out of whack there up in the head area. But the funny thing
I don't know.
Funny thing is, he fought a beautiful fight, and I have to ask myself if Jermell, who's normally the mover, if he's normally the boxer and the counterpuncher, he's normally the guy that likes to use range and space. He was trying to get up in John Jackson's chest, and he was like throwing bombs. He was throwing bombs in there.
Even in the interview after the fight, he clearly said, I didn't expect Jackson to fight that way. I expected him to brawl. So he said, I had to adjust. And he said, I had issues with it. He said, I was definitely losing that fight.
But not only that, though, even before, the day before, at the pre-fight meeting, he was talking about how his power is underrated, where he never talked about it before. So it just goes back to that point I was making about these guys trying to really go out of their way to look exciting now, to make a statement, just so they get these television days, just so they get the fans behind them, whereas that's not their normal style. And this is another example of that, in my opinion. What do you think?
I agree. Eric?
I agree too. I mean, it was I just keep going back to how he was winning that fight. I kept watching it. I must have watched that fight 5 times last night and just kept rewinding it because he was winning the fight. It was just heartbreaking to watch that. I mean, it really was. It was just so heartbreaking, man, because you're watching this guy fight and he's fighting his heart out. He's not expected to win. All the promotion and everything is thrown behind the Charlos. This guy is winning, and he's winning big. He's winning big. That's what kills me, man. And to just get clipped like that is like,
And when you saw the 3 judges' scorecards after the fight, it was obvious that, I mean, even the judges had him like 5-6 points ahead.
Yeah, how could you not? I mean, that was a clear, just clear. Yeah. And, but Julian Jackson, man, the Hawk had the same problem. Where he had just that ferocious power, man, but he had no chin behind it, So they put the lights out on him, man. Just a reminder, call in at 323-870-3857 and press option 1, and you can talk to us with any of your questions or anything like that. Let's talk about the fight on, I believe it took place on May 18th. I guess it was Tuesday, maybe? Was that the Murat Gaziev and Jordan Schimmel?
Yep.
This was a good one, man. I mean, where did this come from, man? Gaziev,
devastating knockout, Eric.
Left hook, put Schimmel out on the mat, halted the cruiserweight title elimination bout immediately at 2:54 of the first round. That was vicious. That was just straight up vicious.
I was worried for the guy's health because they had to bring oxygen and stuff in, to the ring.
Yeah, that was just vicious, man.
Joe, did you get a chance to see that?
I saw highlights of it. I actually missed the card, unfortunately. I totally forgot about that one, but I heard it was a great card.
I actually just saw the main fight too. I didn't actually catch the card.
Yeah, no, the card was average, but yeah, that goes in the candidate for knockout of the year. But I'm glad to report that Schimmel he didn't lose consciousness at all. He was able to get out of the ring under his own power, and it seems like everything's going to be fine. But man, I was scared for the dude because when he got hit and went down, they immediately brought in the medical personnel, and it did not look good at first.
Yeah, that was scary, man. But what a left hook! My gosh. Now let's talk about a fight that took place this weekend across the pond in Australia. Joseph Parker versus Carlos Takam. This was a good fight, man. I tell you, Carlos Takam came in and he wanted it, man. He was a tough guy, man, for sure. Parker, to me, didn't look that impressive in this fight. Takam is a tough fighter, but with the hype that Joseph Parker has been receiving, I expected a lot more. I mean, a lot more. Scores of this fight were 115-113 and 116-112 twice. Joe, did you get a chance to see this?
Absolutely. I thought this was a good fight, and a lot of people are giving Joseph Parker some heat because, as you said, he's been hyped up quite a bit, and he was supposed to win this fight very impressively. I had it 116 and 112 too, but definitely Joseph Parker is a little stiff, a little straight up, doesn't bend the knees. He's not really elusive with the head movement, and doesn't get up under knee shots. But obviously he's a tall fighter, but he just doesn't have that elusiveness. Like even the Klitschko's, they weren't the most slick fighters in the world, but they know how to move their head a little bit and lean back away from punches. Joseph Parker just doesn't have that great a defense, and we saw that because Takam, even though he was fighting in spurts, when he did put his foot on the gas pedal, he was able to land some really good counter right hands and some left hooks. And a lot of things that Joseph Parker does, they're kind of problematic offensively too, because I think he telegraphs shots. He'll keep his hands up around by his chin, but then right when he's about to punch, he drops them down, below his chest, and it's almost like a tell. It's a giveaway. But he
Absolutely.
he is very quick with his hands, and he is very explosive. But if you can pick up on those little things that he does, those little tells that he gives away, a real experienced fighter will be able to tag him. And you as you saw, Carlos Takam was definitely going over the top with the right hand, because before Parker was throwing that jab, again, he was dropping his hand and then launching it. You know what I'm saying? And then when he was throwing the right hand, he was throwing it over the top, but he was punching downward because Takam was getting so low, and then Takam was just getting up underneath the right hand and coming over the top with his hook. So, it's like this. If Joseph Parker doesn't hurt you, then you can still be in the fight, because there's going to be opportunities for a fighter to land against Joseph Parker, because, again, there's a lot of holes defensively, and he telegraphs offensively as well. But, again, he can get away with it sometimes because he is such a sharp puncher, and he's got one of them piston-type Larry Holmes jabs, definitely. You can see how he was pushing Takam back when he did have that jab flowing. But, I thought he faded a little bit late in this fight, and I thought Takam was pushing the pace in the latter half of the fight, and I thought it kind of took a little bit of the wind of the sails out of Joseph Parker. But all in all, there was great ebb and flow in this fight, and from an entertaining standpoint, I thought it was a good fight to watch. But if you were going into this fight thinking that, hey, I want to see Joseph Parker light the world on fire, that did not happen. Absolutely not. I agree with you, Eric.
Well,
yeah, that was... Go ahead.
Since both of you have seen him, I have not. Is he worth all the hype that he's getting?
I don't think so.
No, not at all. Not even close.
Okay.
Not even close. No, and I was really excited to see him, and when I got the video and I sent it to you or whatever, I mean, I was really excited to see him, and, after watching him, he just did not look, I mean, with the amount of hype that I'm hearing from him, that is behind him and everything like that, when I saw this guy fight, I'm like, seriously? This is the hype train?
My question is, why is somebody like Al Bernstein constantly talking about Joseph Parker? I mean,
what else is he going to talk about?
Because you don't normally hear a guy like Al Bernstein talk about a fighter that not very many people have seen. So I'm curious. I wonder why he's.
But in all fairness, though, Joseph Parker had not fought anybody.
Okay.
I mean, this was a big step up in class. This is number 3 ranked guy in the IBF. Parker's ranked number 4. So he was definitely stepping up in class.
Okay.
And he was able to handle it, and he won the fight and everything like that. He didn't look impressive, but again, man, he did step up in class. So you got to give him props for that,
Well, let me ask you this, Eric. Do you think he could beat a fighter like a Charles Martin? How do you think Joseph Parker matches up with Charles Martin?
I think he knocks out Martin. I'm not real impressed. Yeah, I'm not real impressed with Charles Martin either.
What about Dominic Brazil? What about Dominic Brazil?
The one I'm not impressed
with. That's a fight. I think that's a good fight.
Right?
Yeah, I think Joseph Parker and Dominic Brazil, that's a good fight, because that's a toss-up fight. That's not just a walk in the park for either guy.
So he's a good kind of bottom level top 10 guy, would you say?
I think so. And I mean, who knows? I mean, maybe he just had a bad night. That's the other thing too. I mean, he's heavy. I mean, he's fighting in Australia. I mean, that's, he's from Australia. He's fighting in Australia. That's, maybe they put some extra pressure on you. I don't know. But I like that. I like the Brazil fight, man. And unfortunately,
what about Dillian White? What about Dillian White? Shout out to Davey Boy Essex in the Facebook chat.
Yeah, and I tell you what, he just signed up with Matchroom. Dillian White did, and they're going after their British Commonwealth title. Joseph Parker and Dillian White. I think that's a good fight, man. I think that's a very good fight.
Davey,
yeah, Dillian White is no joke, man.
Davey, get on the horn. See if you can get that one going.
That's right. All right, let's stay across the pond here. And we got to review it. It's the way it goes. David Haye and Shannon Briggs fought this weekend, not each other, separate opponents. David Haye stops Arnold Gerjaj, and I still don't know how to pronounce this guy's name, in the second round. Honestly, man, he looked like a 35-year. It looked like one of Shannon Briggs' opponents in there. He didn't look. I mean, listen. It's going to sound crazy. He knocked him out in the second round. He knocked him down 3 times. He looked kind of sluggish, though, to be honest with you. And he looked slow and he looked sluggish. He clearly didn't look like the Haye of old. Haye is 35 years old. I don't know that how he holds up with a solid heavyweight. That being said, the solid heavyweight he's fighting next is going to be Shannon Briggs, and I think he should have enough to beat Shannon Briggs.
Yeah,
Let's go, Sam! Let's go,
and Shannon Briggs is what, 10 years older? So yeah,
Shannon Briggs is ripped though. He's ripped. He's ripped. See those body shots yesterday?
Did you see? All right, so Shannon Briggs, his fight, he KO'd Emilio Zarate with a left hook to the liver in the first round. That was a brutal punch, and that took the win. You just saw him. And you know what was funny about this? Emilio Zarate was like the second or third opponent going into that fight. Briggs was supposed to fight Dmitrienko, and then he was supposed to fight somebody from England. Then he pulled out, and then they ended up with Zarate. So he got like 2 or 3 different opponents the week of the fight. And but Shannon Briggs hit him with that. That was just a vicious body shot. What did you think of Hay, Beeb?
Can I be honest with you?
Of course you can.
He looked like he's a little less fast. He looks a little less quick to me. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if this extra weight is going to be beneficial towards him. Because that's his weapon, is his speed, and he's not the biggest heavyweight in the world. So if his speed and movement is compromised in any way against these big guys, then he's going to be in trouble. I hope he doesn't think that just by bulking up, he's going to be able to overpower these big guys. Because again, when you take some of that explosive off your shots and you just become a clubber, because he looked like he was throwing a lot of clubbing shots yesterday. Like before, he had a lot of snap and explosiveness to his shots, but maybe it was the level of his opposition. I don't know, but he looked kind of a little bit off. He didn't look good. I thought he looked, like I said, man, I thought he looked sluggish, and I thought he looked, to me, he just didn't look right, man.
Well, I don't care about the fight, but who wins between Hay and Briggs?
I think Hay wins.
You have to favor Hay, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Briggs is,
It's funny, though. When you put Briggs in there with the right guy, he does look like a monster. You can it's so easy to do like a highlight reel compilation of Shannon Briggs. It's just amazing, like the way he just blows through like a certain level of opposition. It's just funny to watch it.
Right. 323-870-3857 to call in. Now let's go to the upcoming fights this week. That was pretty much it for the weekend action. And on May 25th, 3 days away, I'm Not Ruin Wrong versus Jean-Riel Casimiro. Rematch, 12 rounds for Ruin Wrong's IBF flyweight title. Now, if you remember, Ruin Wrong is the one that ruined Zhu Shiming's challenge of the world title.
That's correct.
And I want to see Ruin Wrong, and I've said this before, man. I want to see the fight. I want to see him fight Chocolatito at 115, man. I think that's the fight to make, but, who am I?
Okay.
And then May 27th, I believe that's Friday. Is that right? Friday?
Yep, that's correct.
That's correct.
At Niagara Falls, CBSSports.net, Jarrell Miller versus Nick Guivas, 10 rounds heavyweights. And Guillermo Sanchez versus Hiranito De La Torre, 8 rounds junior lightweights. And let's see what we got here.
I think we got some for Saturday, right?
Yeah, May 28th on CBSSports.net, and you can't miss this. David Avanesian versus Shane Mosley, 12 rounds for Avanesian's WBA interim welterweight title. Isn't it, what's his name, Keith Thurman, the WBA champ?
That's correct.
Yeah, that's great. So we have an interim champion. Now, and we'll get to the significance of this fight in our news and rumors section. And also, too, on PBC on Fox Sports 1 and on Fox Deportes on Saturday, Miguel Vasquez versus Eric Bonet, 10 rounds junior welterweights. I can't wait to see Eric Bonet again. I always like watching him fight. Yeah. Miguel Flores versus Ruben Tamayo, 10 rounds featherweights. And then Brandon Figueroa will be on the card against the dreaded TBA.
Okay. And
on BN Sports, from the Philippines, Donnie Nietes versus Raul Garcia, 12 rounds for Nietes, WBO junior flyweight title. And from Glasgow, Scotland, won't be Won't be televised, but you can probably catch a stream somewhere or catch it on Box Nation. Michelle DeRocco versus Ricky Burns, 12 rounds for the vacant WBA regular junior welterweight title. Not the irregular, the regular.
So
there
we have the regular and the interim. Wow. Okay.
Yes, and then May 29th, is that a Monday? Is that
May 29th? That would be a Sunday.
Sunday, okay. I apologize then. From Liverpool, England. And again, you probably catch us on Box Nation. Ilunga Junior Makabu versus Tony Bellew, 12 rounds for the vacant WBC cruiserweight title. Now, I don't like cruiserweights. I don't like cruiserweight fights, but I would definitely try to check this one out. Tony Bellew is a good fighter.
Yes, he is.
I like Tony Bellew. Very entertaining.
Me too.
Good
boxer,
absolutely.
Too.
Excellent boxer.
That's right. He was in the movie Creed, so there you go.
Yep.
All right. So let's move on to our news and rumors section. Once again, 323-870-3857 if you want to call in. All right, so let's talk about the big news this week, man. Canelo Alvarez, without a fight, gives up the WBC title. Canelo gives up his WBC and hands it over to Triple G. I'm actually kind of surprised at this, man. Canelo claims that he will still pursue negotiations with Triple G for a fight. He said it's better to get rid of the title so there are no deadlines. Really? That's the story you're selling. You're selling the story that it's better to get rid of this with no deadlines. What exactly do you need more time on? Do you think the WBC would not let you extend negotiations if you're on here? Okay, so the WBC, if they know you're negotiating, you're a willing party, you're negotiating and everything like that. So you're telling me that in good faith, the WBC would not extend negotiations? Of course they would. Of course they would.
That 15 days is misleading because it wasn't like they had to fight in 15 days. They just had to have a date or an agreement made by the end of the 15 days. So they didn't have to fight right away. And Eric, you know what? A lot of people are surprised, but I'm not surprised because I definitely saw this happening. I was 90% sure this was going to happen because now what they're going to do is, like I said, they're going to put a ridiculous offer on the table to Triple G that they know he's not going to take, and then he's not going to accept it, and they're just going to say, hey, we offered him the fight, he didn't want it. And that's what it's going to be. They don't want this fight right now. They're not ready for this fight right now. And think about it. I mean, he would be a 4-1 underdog if right off the bat if this fight got made. And I don't see a way he can win this fight right now, in my opinion. I don't think the fight's competitive. And I'm not that mad. I'm not that disappointed, to be honest with you. And you know what the thing is now? Go ahead, Eric.
I'll tell you why I'm a little irritated with it. Because of the nonsense that Golden Boy has pulled leading into the fight, after the fight. You know, when he comes up there and says, yeah, we're going to pursue Triple G after this fight, then, Oscar's at the press conference. We're calling Triple G right now. Pick up your phone, Triple G. And all the nonsense that went along with it when you knew you had no intention on fighting this guy. That's what people are irritated about. Everybody knows Canelo's not a middleweight, but it's all the nonsense that led into this, Well, and Oscar saying prior to he's going to fight at 160, he had no intention of doing any of this. And that's what makes everybody angry about this. Everybody knows that Canelo's not 160. Everybody knows if Canelo goes up there, he's probably not going to win. All right? But it's the public perception now that Canelo is a coward after this because of all the stuff that Golden Boy has pulled.
Oh, I guarantee you he will never be looked at the same again because, like we pointed out on last week's show, the Mexican people, the Mexican fans view that title in particular as something very, very important, and now that he's dropped it, and he's gonna possibly fight a guy like Liam Smith, the Latino community, especially in Mexico, is going to skewer him in because they're going to think he doesn't have the cojones to actually step up to the plate and fight this guy.
Now, this is, for the record, this is the third lineal champion that has not fought Triple G, and not only that. I made a video about this, and I want to hear your guys' thoughts on this. And I agree, yeah, that camp, the Canelo camp, talked so much trash, and they talked about how they weren't afraid and this and that, and they were going to do the fight, and they tried to lead everyone to believe that. They weren't fooling me. But Do you think now, because, Canelo is looked upon as the prima donna, basically, he's looked upon as the bigger fighter beating up on smaller fighters, do you think he's perceived as the bully and the prima donna, and now people want to see him get beat up? Now they want to see him get punished? Do you think that's why people want this fight? Because I honestly believe that nobody really thinks this fight's going to be competitive. I can't find anyone picking Canelo to win this fight.
No.
No, I don't think so. I don't think because they think he's a bully or is perceived as a bully. I mean, to me, the reason is, like I said, man, all the talk, we don't F around in Mexico. That's what he said. That's what he said after we don't F around in Mexico. We got the belt, let's fight, we're men, blah, blah, blah.
What
and
the
then to
hell
go
are you
in
doing
there,
now?
Right. And then to just give it up without so much as throwing a punch. There's no shame in going in there and losing Triple G. There's also no shame in saying, hey, I'm not really a middleweight. You can have the belt. I'm going back down.
Yeah. Well, again, I hate to keep harping on this. I really feel bad for Gennady Gennadievich Golovkin here, because everybody always says, well, he doesn't fight anybody. Well, what the hell is he supposed to do when nobody wants to fight him? I mean, and everybody said, well, he needs to move up. Well, tell me, who's at 168 that's going to be a threat to Triple G? There's really nobody impressive there. What do you want him to do? Go up there and clean out that division, and then what are you going to say? Well, okay, move up to 175 and fight Kovalev. I mean, I don't think the boxing public will ever be happy with whatever this guy does.
Let me go to the phones right now. We might have a real special guest on the line here.
Okay.
Stuart Little, is this you?
It is indeed.
Oh,
well,
my
hello,
man.
Stuart.
How about that?
How's it going, boys?
Behave.
Very well.
Behave.
How you doing, babe?
It's good to have you on the show.
Yeah,
good to have you on the show, my man.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, what can I say? I mean, it was a decent card. I'm not going to hate on the card. It is what I thought it would be. With the styles of fights. Lara, it was a bit like Groundhog Day again. Martirosyan always in the fight, always looking competitive, but just not accurate enough, just not good enough at cutting off the ring. And Lara was his usual self. I mean, very predictable Lara when he's throwing punches. He seems to throw the same shots every time. And I've got a feeling with a man like Golovkin, it's just, I can't believe people think that Lara is going to beat Gennady Golovkin. I just see anyhow he can. I mean, he could not keep Vanes off him. And it's only because Vanes is he's just not good enough at that level. He's a decent level. He's like a gatekeeper level. He just hasn't got it in him to take it up to the next level. And I just feel someone like Golovkin and Vanes, the stratospheres apart when it comes to ability. And I just don't see why people are saying this guy is going to beat Golovkin. I just don't see it. But with Trout and Charlo, funny enough, my Box Nation, it just cut off. I was struggling to get a signal for some reason, so I had to watch on the stream. And I watched both brothers on the stream. And it cut out the first one. But what I see, Julian Jackson and John Jackson was actually bossing the fight. He looked the ring general in there. I mean, he looked the better boxer, which was hard to believe when you hear the hype going around the Charlo brothers. And the Charlo brothers are they're an up and coming duet at the moment, aren't they? They're getting a lot of attention. They've got a lot of backing, and I thought Jackson was the boss in there. I obviously missed the KO, and it is what it is. I mean, Charlo, for me, that Charlo has a lot of work to do. A lot of work to do. He was following John Jackson around the ring. He was clueless at times, and I thought the Charlo brothers were like skilled technicians. I keep hearing they are, but I didn't see any of that. I mean, the other Charlo who fought Trout, he's the better guy. He looks a lot bigger as well. I mean, I don't know how they're twins. It's like Danny DeVito and Schwarzenegger, isn't it?
Yeah, right. That was good, man. Yeah.
Well, it is, isn't it? I don't know, because Charlo's a monster of a man. I mean, it's the size of his arms, And
well, there was rumors that particular Charlo was going to move up, but he said last night, no, he'd changed his mind, and it looks like that he might have to move up because.
Definitely.
we'll wait and see what happens there. But man, what can I say?
He's massive at the weight. He's definitely massive at the weight, and he will move up definitely. Yep. And I think there'll be some big threats for him in that division. But it is what it is. I mean, it was a half decent card. I thought the David Haye card was probably the worst card I've seen in many years watching boxing, and that is an achievement in its own with the garbage we've had to watch. I mean, it was an absolute shocking card. The guy felt like he just did not want to know. I mean, who gets knocked over from a fucking jab? I mean, excuse my language, but it's just embarrassing. This guy was there to take the fall. David Haye is making a mockery out of boxing at the moment. He needs to step up. I mean, I wasn't impressed with David Haye's performance, to be honest with you. I thought when he hurt the Cobra, the so-called Cobra, we know which of the real Cobra is, but when he hurt him, he swarmed his work. He sort of like smothered his own work, and he was slapping around the side of the head. It was just awful to see. And I think David Haye doesn't look sharp at the moment. I think Joshua would probably do a number on him. But with David Haye, he's got that power, equalising power. He can knock anyone out. So
it looks like he's going to be fighting Shannon Briggs next, Stuart. So it looks like
Shannon the Cannon. I mean, so what you like about him, but he's a talented guy. Whether you say he's old or not, and he's going to get probably beat by David Haye. But some of them shots he was throwing, world class shots. You could see he's run a while. I mean, that left hook to the body. I mean, that sap a lot of people down that wood. So yeah, it's more of a circus, isn't it, than a heavyweight title fight.
Stuart, let me ask you a question about David Haye. Do you think now that he's been bulking up, do you think that's affected how he's performed in the ring? You think that was a mistake to put on that extra weight?
Well, yeah, because I think before when he was light, he was an ambush fighter, weren't he, Beef?
Yeah. He used a lot more movement. Now he just seems to be a plotter.
He seems to, he seems to be pressing the fight now, but where usually he was on the back foot waiting to ambush people with counter shots with his speed and that lot. But now but we don't know, these bums he's putting them in they're putting him in the ring with. He's not going to be on the back foot against these guys because he'd get laughed out of boxing. He has to go and take these guys out. So we'll see. But I agree, Beeb. I just don't think he looked as sharp and as slick as he usually does. And I think that's what made David Haye the fighter he is, sort of thing.
Absolutely.
Who could have imagined Anthony Joshua in there last night against David Haye? I mean, the way David Haye looked, and I know it sounds crazy because he knocked this guy down and he put him out and everything like that in 2 rounds. But he still, to me, looked a little bit sluggish. I couldn't even imagine Anthony Joshua in there with him. I mean, that's like a massacre.
What about Dylan White? What about Dylan White in there with him? That's a good fight.
I'll tell you what.
I don't know, man. I would almost say
Sorry, bro. I called in on the Boxing Voice and I said about Dillian White and I got laughed off the show. I said Dillian White is a better fighter than a lot of people think. And now people are saying put him in with Haye. He has a chance, so...
I think Dylan White definitely has a chance against Haye, man. I think Dylan White's a good fighter, man.
Yeah,
it looks like White is going to fight Parker from what we just heard. So,
That was a very good fight. Did you watch that, boys? His fight.
The Parker fight? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, my thing with Parker is that, like I said, I mean, this is my first time really watching him, and he came in on so much hype that you expected so much. And then when you watched him, I mean, it was a good fight, but when you watched him, you just kind of left like, I mean, he wasn't, but again, he was stepping up in competition and that kind of thing. So
I was going to say, in fairness, Takam is no slouch. You know what I mean?
No, not even close.
But don't you think some of his, he's got a few technical issues, isn't he? I mean, he stands up straight.
That's what I said, I said the same thing.
He stands up straight with his hands up in the air, and when he's leaning back, not doing it properly, he closes. He even turns his head to the side sometimes when he's trying to get out of there, not even watching the opponent. I mean, he's a knockout waiting to happen. I mean, it reminds me a bit like that performance reminded me a bit like Carson Jones, Kell Brook, the first one. When Kell Brook just hits Carson Jones with everything and just sort of he just ran out of steam, sort of thing, and it was just mode, and that's how it seemed to me, with a little few bursts here and there. I mean, I know he hasn't done the 12 rounds before, but I still think, I think someone that puts a bit of pressure on him, that's a bit younger, a bit hungrier than Takam, could cause Parker a lot of problems.
Well, since you're from the UK, Stuart, what do you think of Brooke fighting Jesse Vargas?
I think Cal Brook will do an absolute number on Jesse Vargas. He really will.
I agree.
It's a bad fight for Jesse Vargas. That's a bad fight for Jesse Vargas.
Yes, and because Jesse Vargas, we know he's got a very good chin, but the thing is, we know he's got a chin because he's constantly getting hit on it. You know what I mean? And that's the problem. That's the problem. I mean,
do you think this is a big enough fight for Kell Brook, though? I know it's a unification fight, but Jesse Vargas, they talked about, I know Eddie Hearn talked about getting him a big fight during the summer, and they wanted a big name. I was expecting a little bit more than Jesse Vargas, though. You know, I wanted to see.
Way I'm looking at it, the way I'm looking at it, if he can get 2 belts, he's in a very good position of bargaining.
Yeah.
I think that's the only reason why he took this fight is for the other belt. And if I'm not mistaken, it'll be in London, correct?
Exactly.
It's going to be in the UK, yeah.
When you've got 2 belts, you can negotiate a big fight to be held in England. And that's what he wants. You know, he'll go to America if he has to, but he wants it in England. And that having 2 belts is a major, is a major strength to have, really, sort of thing.
And let's face it, looking at all the champions in 147, Jesse Vargas is the easiest one to pick off at the moment. So good move by Kell Brook.
And also,
yeah, do you think? I'm sorry. Go ahead.
It's going to look good for Vargas to gain. So
try that again, Stuart. You broke up.
Sorry, I was saying that if Kell Brook does a good job on Jesse Vargas, it's going to look good anyway, because Jesse Vargas actually Timothy Bradley kittens, and Timothy Bradley is a top welterweight, so it will look quite good on his resume, I think.
Well, I think that Jesse Vargas is definitely tailor-made for a guy like Kell Brook. I really do. I think that Kell Brook is going to have an easy time with Jesse Vargas.
Yeah,
and that should put him in the driver's seat. That should put him in the driver's seat in that division. I don't know. I mean, with Errol Spence, he's got one more fight before it becomes the actual mandatory for Kell Brook's title. But who knows what happened then with him being promoted by Heyman and everything like that? Who knows if he goes after Porter or Thurman or whoever's got that belt?
Well, and remember, with Top Rank settling their lawsuit, it's going to open the door for maybe Bradley to fight Brook.
That's a terrible fight for Bradley too, I think. Yeah.
I totally agree, Eric, but I'm just saying.
Right.
I think with the damage Timothy Bradley's took lately, I can see he's starting to slur his words. He's starting to look at droopy eye. He's got a bit of a Brandon Rios syndrome going on, isn't he?
Talk about somebody that's slurring their words. Did you see the CBS card on Friday when Steve Kim interviewed
James Toney? Wow, that was
I mean,
sad.
my God, that was awful.
And James Toney still looks like he's got his faculties in the sense that he knows what's going on. He just can't communicate.
I felt bad for Steve, man, having to give that guy a microphone. It was awful.
I mean, how could you sleep at night knowing you're James Toney promoter and you're going to be putting him in?
You trusted that guy to get you a fight, It was like, oh my God.
I'm signed to James Toney.
I mean,
who's your promoter? That guy over there talking in the ring, like, oh my gosh.
And who's the guy sanctioning these fights? I mean, they need to be investigated, don't they?
Well, actually, it was a co-promotion between Roy Jones promotion and James Toney Promotions. So think about that.
Exactly. Yeah. Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Unbelievable.
I mean, it's pretty sad. It's pretty sad where boxing is, really. When you look at some of the old guys talking about coming back. I mean, we had Bruno the other day. The guy's 50 years old. All sorts of menaces. He wants to come back. You've got Ben and Eubank seniors trying to get in the ring for a third time. You've got Steve Collins and Roy Jones Jr. calling out each other. I mean, it's absolutely ridiculous, Well,
and not only that, don't forget Bernard Hopkins has not officially retired. So,
And that's the problem, I think, Robbie, because Bernard Hopkins is doing it. Everyone else thinks they can do it, and Bernard Hopkins is an alien. He's a one-off, isn't he? Let's be real.
Yeah, that's right.
He's a different kind of fighter, man. That's for sure.
Yep.
Absolutely. Well, Stuart, man, I appreciate the call, man. Thank you so much, and keep listening, man. And call in again, for sure.
Thank you, brother. I miss talking to you, man.
Yeah, Robbie, I'm glad to hear that you're okay, mate, and you've sorted out all your differences with certain people. It's good to hear from you. And Beeb, you're the man. I told you I'd ring in, didn't I?
Yes, you did, sir. I appreciate it. I always love talking to you, brother.
Well, hey, Stuart, me and Eric, we've been doing this show for a while, and now it's a better platform for me, and, we're actually going to talk boxing here, and we're not going to worry about anything else.
Well, like I said, Robbie, your opinion is respected on here.
That's right.
See you later, boys. Take care. Enjoy the show.
All right, be good, Stuart.
Take care, man.
Yeah, thanks for calling in, brother.
I'll be calling in next week, too.
Cool.
Awesome. Thank you.
All right.
All right, let's go to 619, and I think this is Chakal, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, this is our Tijuana caller.
Yeah. 619, you're live. Hello, you're live. 619. Is this
how
Chakal?
you doing, Robbie?
Hey,
this is Lorenzo.
go ahead. You're on.
There he is.
You're
Yeah,
on.
what's going on, man?
Oh, I was just listening to the show. I was not ready to talk yet, but I didn't put the one, so that's why I didn't know if it was me or there was somebody else. But anyway, hi to you guys, and great show as always. I was just right now listening to Stuart Little talking there about the card over there in the UK. I didn't have a chance to watch it, so I saw a couple of videos, and I agree with him with respect of David Haye. I don't think he looked really well. And, I don't think there is a lot that he can do in the division there. I think definitely gaining more weight, he's making his abilities or whatever skills he had in the past. He's losing those, and he's going to be an easy target for bigger guys. But, I don't know. I think it's just marketing. The main reason why I was calling is because of the whole, what has been happening between Canelo and Triple G. As I was chatting with you, Eric, on Facebook, when the news came out, I was actually talking to a couple of my friends in TJ about that. And, to be honest, I was not surprised about the whole thing. I knew that was going to happen. And, I think the way you could see this is there's going to be three different kind of fans here. It's going to be the Canelo fans, it's going to be the Golovkin fans, it's going to be the casual fans. So I think that obviously the Golovkin fans, the ones that like Golovkin but at the same time don't know too much about boxing, they're going to be really, really upset of what happened. I think that the fact of also, the casual fans not getting the fight that they wanted. And casual fans, not completely casual, but just somebody that gets involved in boxing and knows Triple G and Canelo. They obviously going to label Canelo as a coward. And, they have their rights to do that. And I guess also the Canelo fans that are on the bandwagon, that right now they're seeing Canelo dropping the belt, it looks coward as well. However, I like Canelo. I follow him, but I like more boxing than Canelo. My idol was Eric Morales. And definitely it was a completely different era, different way that business was working at that time. So I don't know. I think in this time, what I rather see a good fight, a competitive matchup, rather than a big event. And to be honest, I don't even think this event is completely big. I was listening to the radio show of Living in the Ring, the next round. Not the next round, actually, the one with David Duenas. They were talking about.
Oh yeah, that's Living in the Ring.
Living in the Ring, yeah. And it makes really, really, really good sense about the fact of okay, what do we have here? Do we have a really big event? Because also you, Robbie, have mentioned about that if this fight happens, it will break all the records and everything. I don't think we have yet such a big event, because if you think about it, when you have a fighter like Golovkin making 150,000 pay-per-views fighting technically nobody, which the Milk fan base in Canada, but like a nobody. And then you have Canelo fighting guys like Amir Khan, like Perangulo, like Lara, and making 350,000. How do you expect that mixing those two guys you will get 2 million pay-per-view fight, or like a 3 million, or like 1.5 million? I think after the whole issue with Mayweather and Pacquiao, the whole casual fan left the sport. And I don't think these guys.
I agree.
Yeah, I don't think they're ready. So I don't think it's gonna be such a big fight. I think it's gonna be a good event. Maybe past the million. Maybe it does 1.5 million, which is still amazing, because that's one of the things they were mentioning. We got used to the big numbers that Mayweather and Pacquiao were carrying, and we start thinking that those numbers were very opinionable about anyone, and it's not that easy. So, I mean, I don't think the event is there, and, you know, I think for Golden Boy promotion, they're putting too much online because Canelo is their main card, and, you know, trying to go and negotiate with Golovkin to try to get a purse where it's going to be 60-40 or something, I don't think I mean, it's good business, but not yet because they not even know how Canelo is going to react with a fighter that is middleweight. You know, so kind of like what Bib was saying, you know, like at the end of the day, I mean, Canelo hasn't fought a guy bigger than him. And, you know, like you don't want to go with such a guy like Golovkin that has 21 fights beating everybody and knocking them out and try to figure out if you can handle the punch at that moment. For what? For a 60-40? For, you know, I don't think it's there yet. So I think the fans, after what happened with Pacquiao, right now we got a little bit, especially the new fans, the new people that are young kids and everything, we're a little bit impatient. And I think this fight needs to have at least one more fight where Canelo can actually, you know, fight somebody in 160, somebody like Lemieux that hits hard. And then also at the same time, what they were saying is like, you know, like there is a deadline for them not to fight, but there is a deadline for them to pretty much put how the purse is going to be disbursed, how the tickets are going to be disbursed, how everything is going to be disbursed. Do you think this fight of this magnitude with the guy that is the main card of Golden Boy promotion and right now kind of like the main face of boxing, you can negotiate this in 14 days? I don't think so, because I don't think also, you know, that's the biggest fight of Golovkin, and I don't think they also want to get just like, you know, whatever they want to give them. So that's why I don't think it would.
But, you know, Lorenzo, let me jump in here real quick, man. Don't you think, though, if that was the case, I mean, and I understand what you're saying, I mean, and don't you think, though, that Golden Boy should have laid up on this, though, if they knew they weren't going to, because Golden Boy knew they weren't going to take this fight. And I agree with you. 14 days is not a lot of time to negotiate, and I agree that, you know, Canelo's not a middleweight, and like I said, he hasn't fought anybody his size. He's fought a lot of people, or anybody bigger than him. Let's say that. He hasn't fought anybody bigger than him. But don't you think all the nonsense by Golden Boy, you know, with Oscar saying pick up the phone, Oscar saying we're going to fight at 160, Oscar saying all this stuff, and Canelo at the end of the fight inviting Triple G in there, and Canelo saying, hey, well, this is Mexico, we don't F around, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. Don't you think all that stuff kind of plays into the fact that, hey, you know, people are going to say he's a coward because of this. Now, I don't agree that he's a coward, because I agree, like I said, he has no business fighting Triple G, honestly. He really doesn't, because that's a fight he's really going to have a problem winning, that fight. You know, I think he should go back to 154.
I blame this whole thing on...
But at the end of the day...
If he goes back to 154, it's still going to be the same thing. There is no win situation for Canelo at this point. Because if he goes back to 154, they're still going to tell him that it's a coward because he's avoiding the 160. Because they're like, okay, you were already a middleweight champion, and you decided to go back to 154 because, you know, because you're scared of Golovkin, and nobody knows anybody in 154. So he's still going to look as a coward.
But at the end of the day, you know, what you just said, Chakal, is music to my ears, because you get it. You know the difference between a big event and a super fight. This would be a big event. A super fight is when you have two guys
versus war.
Yeah, you have two guys who are at the top level who can compete with each other, and it's close to a 50-50 fight. They're the best of the best. This is not the best versus the best. And, you know, to speak to Eric's point, what I think why Golden Boy and why Canelo did that, it's all part of the building up process of this fight. They know they're not going to take it this year. They know they're not going to take it next year. They're trying to fuel the fire for this fight, and they want fans to get angry. They want fans to get pissed off. They want fans to want this fight. And again, I just think that a lot of people want to see Canelo get his ass beat because of all the talk, because of we don't F around, because he's beating up smaller guys. And that's going to add to people buying the fight. Just like Floyd Mayweather. People buy the pay-per-view to see him lose. So maybe they want, not all the lovers, maybe they want some haters too. So they want to get both sides of the coin here. So someone's got to be the good guy. Someone's got to be the bad guy. So why not, hey, like Hulk Hogan turned heel. He went to the NWO. Why not make Canelo turn heel? Let him be the bad guy now. And let Triple G be the good guy. Because it sucks when you have two good guys.
Yep, definitely. Plus,
That's definitely it's a good point.
Let's not forget that the pay-per-views, the numbers is for the people that buy the pay-per-view in the United States. You don't have to overhype anymore the fight in Mexico because we already know that it's hype. And whatever is going to happen, if he's going to have lovers or haters in Mexico, at the end of the day, you know what I mean? Those are not the people that you want to attract. You want to attract the people that live in the U.S. And so far right now, not a lot of people. I mean, they know Canelo. They know a little bit of Triple G, but, I mean, they're not on board in boxing anymore. So, I mean, I totally agree about the whole thing about hyping the fight. I mean, I really think that maybe it's going to happen next year, probably in May. Canelo was saying that he wanted to fight 3 times in this year, so maybe he picks, I don't know, Lemieux from September, and then in December maybe Stevens, something like that, or maybe he even try to go and get Billy Joe Saunders so he can get the last belt that Golovkin needs and make it even bigger. I don't know. There's a lot of things that can happen, but I totally agree with that idea that they're kind of turning Canelo because they know that no matter what they do, people, they're still not going to be happy. And they're going to be like, okay, why am I going to make the fight right now? And then he gets beat up and maybe his career is over. So might as well, let's turn him into the bad guy. Because at the end of the day, look, right now a lot of people, what are they putting on the social networks when they see Chavez posting ridiculous posts in Instagram about, I will fight Triple G. They're like, he will do it. And look what he's been doing in his career for the last 2 years. You know, he's been a bum. He doesn't even make weight. I don't think he could even make 168. But people are like that in Mexico. You know, like sometimes people hate, and then eventually they just, when the event is there, they're going to go back and watch it. So I think everything is just like trying to make this fight bigger and be in a field a little bit more fair.
Yeah, I don't know why Oscar didn't come right out and say, you know what, we just don't want this fight right now. You know, instead of pulling all these shenanigans.
Well, I mean, because that's the other thing too. Yeah,
they got to pump it up, Robbie. They got to pump it up.
Well, and by doing that, I mean, he's going to be, like I said, in the court of public opinion, he's being skewered right now. We'll talk about it on social media and the kind of stuff. I mean, that's the thing. And Chavez Sr. came out, and he just said, and he was on that A Los Golpes show, and he said if a fighter wants to fight someone, the fight gets made. Chavez said, for example, when I was offered the Camacho fight, I took it. When they offered me Haugen, I took it. Meldrick Taylor, I took it. He said Don King sometimes didn't want the fights, but I told him that I wanted to fight them, and the fights got made. He said, I don't think Canelo is afraid, but Canelo has more of a chance to beat Golovkin. He said, Canelo keeps getting better. To me, Canelo is a natural middleweight. Canelo is a much better boxer than Golovkin, and Golovkin is a bigger puncher than Canelo. Honestly, I think Canelo has the skills to make a good fight, and he can beat Golovkin. So, according to Chavez Sr.
I think it's a fair point, and I mean, obviously, everybody that is, like I said, on the Golovkin side, they're not gonna like this. But at the end of the day, you need to look at more than just being a supporter of Golovkin. You need to be a supporter of the sport. And I mean, this right now is not the proper time. Yeah, is there a risk that Canelo can lose with Lemieux? Yeah, there is risk. But at the end of the day, I'd rather have him fight Lemieux and maybe get hit with Lemieux and try to figure out how to overturn it and win it than just get beat up. Like, you know, kind of like what Trinidad happened with Bernard Hopkins, that he was throwing punches at him, and Hopkins was not even feeling the punches, and Trinidad got pretty much whacked in that fight.
Well,
so, I mean,
right.
Well, the rumor is...
Go ahead, Robbie.
I was going to say, the rumor is now that Canelo is looking for Liam Smith in September, and he's a 154-pound champion, so...
Yeah, that's a light rumor. I mean, but that's a rumor. Yeah, I think that the smart money would be on him and David Lemieux, because David Lemieux obviously is promoted by Golden Boy. You have Curtis Stevens in there who looked pretty good in his last fight. Right. I would say, honestly, put him in there against Stevens first and then Lemieux after that. And then, you know, like I said, let him move around there.
Or have Stevenson and Lemieux fight each other, you know.
You know what I think it will happen too? I was talking to my cousin as well. Is like he said something about fighting Lemieux maybe in a catchweight like 158, because you know how Lemieux kind of like struggles with weight, and I mean because he needs to be definitely a good opponent in September, because September is a big date for Mexico. is when people travel to Vegas and everything. So it needs to be somebody that can, has a little bit more. And I don't think Stevens is there to hold that card. So I think if they're going to put Stevens, they're going to be in December. Has to be Lemieux, but maybe it could be in a catch weight of 158. But who knows? Well, guys, thank you so much. Great show, as always, and I'll continue listening.
Absolutely. And just so I can tell the story real quick, Lorenzo, I was at the soccer game. I was at the FC Cincinnati soccer game this week, and we're in the stadium, and my Twitter goes off, and I'm looking at it, and my wife is shaking her head because she knows it, because she tells me to put the phone away and this and that. We're watching the game, and it's Lorenzo, and he's texting me on Twitter saying, he said, check this article out. We're kind of going back and forth and stuff. And it was about Golovkin, getting the title or whatever, about Canelo is going to, relinquish the title. That's how I heard about it. So he actually broke that news for me. So thank you, Lorenzo, man, and much to the chagrin of my wife and while we're at the game. But, hey, it works for me, man. Works for me. Let's go to 812 real quick. 812, you're live.
Hey, what's up, guys? Eric, Robbie.
Hey, Joe, what's up?
What's up, my guys? How you guys doing?
I think I just sent you a Twitter message, so yeah. Very cool.
Yeah. Hey, Robbie, man, I got to tell y'all, last night's triple header, there was so many fights this weekend, but I'll start off with the triple header. I was very impressed with Lara. I know a lot of fans are saying that the fight was boring, but man, this guy can box, man. I mean, you're really looking to just study the sweet science and want to see a good boxer with skills. This guy, he's got the tools, man. I mean, he picked apart Martirosyan. I was very impressed with Lara, and that's his style, and I think he'll make it difficult for any fighter he faces. Even when he fought Canelo that one time, I had Lara winning that fight, but I was impressed with him.
I think most people did, yeah.
Yeah, and I like Ron. I always like Ronnie Shields, man. He just seems like a cool dude too, man. But he's a good trainer, and man, they got a good game plan. And let me start off next with the Trout and Charlo fight, and that was the fight I was most excited about coming into this weekend. To me, it lived up to the hype, man. I mean, it was very good. I didn't realize Charlo was that big. I mean, he made Trout look small, but Trout was getting hit. He was slick, going in there in and out. He tried, man, but Jamal looked good, and I was really impressed with him. I just think these guys, they're new to the spotlight, so they don't really have much how should I say, character. Even when they got interviewed by Jim Gray, they're just real straight to the point. So I think in due time and with more fights on the big stage, that'll come with it. And then the other fight, Jackson and Jermell, I mean, I was impressed. I mean, I feel bad for Jackson because it looks like he was sticking to the game plan. He was winning. But you got to give credit for Charlo for not giving in, because I'm sure he was told he was losing on the cards, But I just felt like that triple header, every fighter, every fighter had their moments in the fight. And it was a lot of drama in that card. I was real impressed with the card overall. I don't know if you guys got to catch Robbie. Did you catch the fight night at the D last night?
I caught the main event. I didn't catch any of the other fights.
Okay, I'm gonna catch the main event tonight. I try to stay up as late as I can. I just caught the beginning, the first fight, and man, that's Devin Haney, 17 years old. B, what do you think about this kid? He's 17, and he's over there winning. What, he's 5-0 now, I think.
Yeah.
Did you catch that fight, Eric or B?
I didn't catch it, no.
No, I think I missed that one.
Okay. And Robbie, now going back to Friday, did you hear the results for the Golden Boy card? I know Gomez.
We didn't talk about that card. I don't believe.
Okay.
Did we, Eric? The Golden Boy card?
Gomez looked okay, but he was in there tough. I thought it was a competitive fight, but I think at the end of the day, he was just. He was carrying the fight. He did some good work inside, and I just thought he outworked him. I thought Gomez came through.
I thought it could have been a draw. I just think the other guy was fighting pretty good, man. And then I was working yesterday afternoon, so I missed the David Hay and the Briggs. Did you guys touch on that earlier?
Yeah, we did.
They
both won their fights.
Okay,
David Hay looked very sluggish. I don't know if you saw it or not. David Hay looked pretty sluggish in there. Even though he knocked the guy out in 2 rounds, He didn't look great, that's for sure. And he was in there with a pretty soft touch. And then Shannon Briggs kind of looked the same way. It was a typical Shannon Briggs opponent, but the body shot to the liver that Shannon Briggs landed was brutal. So
yeah. Hey, Beeb, I heard your boy Joseph Parker, man. He pulled off a decision yesterday, right?
Yeah. Actually, I've only seen Joseph Parker fight a few times, and
okay.
I'm not really sold on him, but I think he could beat some of those lower top 10 guys, but I don't think he could beat the top 4, top 5 guys. I think he's kind of somewhere in the middle of the pack. I think he's got a lot of defensive liabilities, and I just think that he's a little stiff, and I think he's a little inconsistent. I thought he got tired later in the fight, but I thought he did enough to win. But I just saw a lot of flaws that could be exploited by different guys and bigger punch. I think if he gets in there with a bigger puncher, he could be knocked out. He could definitely be knocked out.
Let me jump in here
Eric,
since we're talking about Joseph Parker. Let me jump in one real quick point here. I was tweeted to me by Big Drama Show. He's one of my friends on Twitter. Joseph Parker fights in New Zealand, not Australia, so I stand corrected. He's a New Zealander. So what was your question? I'm sorry.
Hey, Eric, I know you're in Cincinnati, so my question is, were you driving around bumping Adrian Broner's new song that he made the other day?
I can't get it out of my head. You know I'm bumping it. You know I am. Man, I got the windows down. I got the radio cranked up talking about Slammer.
Yeah.
Adrian Broner's favorite place, by the way. Yeah.
I actually enjoyed the video.
Did you see the video? Yeah, this guy is crazy, man. I mean, he's out there. He really is. But go ahead, Eric.
I said I like the video because it showed a lot of Cincinnati stuff. It showed him jogging around the track at UC. That's actually the Justice Center. If you watch the early part of the video, that's actually the Justice Center downtown that he's coming out of.
Yeah, that was great. But hey, Robbie, out of all the fighters this weekend, Robbie, from that triple, let's stick to the Showtime card. I guess a question for all three of you guys, what fight did you guys enjoy the most? Do you agree with my assessment on Lara as far as his technical skills?
I love Lara, man. I've always loved Lara. Yeah, he's always been very technical. Like I said, man, I think the fight to make, I like Lara and I like Triple G. If Lara would move up in weight to fight Triple G, I don't know that that's a fight Triple G wants, though. I mean, honestly, Tom Loeffler had said, he said that with Erislandy Lara, he said that he's lost twice. He didn't look good in his losses. He lost to this guy, lost to that guy. He doesn't seem to want to fight him. But the fight I enjoyed most on the card was Charlo and Trout, and I thought he looked so good against Trout. And I can't wait for him and J-Rock to get it on, man. I cannot wait for that.
That's going to be a hell of a fight. I can't wait for him. Oh, man. Because J-Rock's his mandatory now, so boy, that's going to be a hell of a fight in the fall, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Hey guys, one more thing before I get off here.
Sure.
I'm sorry. I apologize. I just got off work, so you may have touched on this. I was listening Jesse Vargas and Cal Brook, August 27th. What do you think about that? That's big time
deal.
right there.
It's a done deal, and Jesse Vargas has to punch his passport and go to the UK and take a loss.
Never a safe fight,
Robbie,
man.
what do you think about that fight?
It's a good fight for Cal Brook. Hope Vargas gets a good payday.
You're asking Beeb who's going to win, the Englishman or Jesse Vargas. You know he's taking the Englishman, son.
Yeah.
I will tell you this. You know who I think style-wise will give Cal Brook fits? Errol Spence.
Errol Spence will roll over anybody in the division right now. Errol Spence gives anybody fits. Errol Spence beats anybody in the division. Not only beats them, he beats them handily. There is nobody out there right now that can compete in the welterweight division with Errol Spence Jr. He is the heir apparent.
Eric, you're my boy, man, but I got to disagree big time, man. Oh, God. You already know where I'm going with this. To me, that welterweight division is owned by my boy Keith One-Time Thurman, man.
Oh, my God.
I think Thurman will knock him cold, man.
Everybody loves Keith Thurman,
man. Keith Thurman's a really good fighter, man.
Everybody loves Keith Thurman. What's going to happen when Sean Porter beats him, man? What's going to happen?
It's not going to happen.
Oh, wow.
I'm a little biased because I'm invested in that fight because I'm going to it, but I've always been a One-Time fan. Beeb, are you still going to that fight or no?
Where is it, New York? I don't
it's
know,
only It's a few hours from you, right?
It's at the Barclays, man.
It's about 5 hours from me. I might have to take the Beeb jet down there.
Hey man, I'll be out there for the NBA draft the whole week, man. If you come out, hit me up, man. I'll hit you up, dude. I'll be out there the whole week.
All right, man.
But yeah, Robbie, and Eric, you guys keep up the good work. And Robbie, I'll give you a call later on this week, man.
Cool, man. Cool.
You guys take care and good show, okay?
All right.
Awesome,
Man.
Thank you so much.
Calling.
Thank you, man.
Yep.
Good stuff, man. Good stuff. All right, so let's go ahead.
Getting back to the Canelo and Triple G discussion, guys. What does Triple G do now for a possible next opponent now that Canelo has given him the title?
I don't know. I mean, he's I mean, that's a really good question. I mean, I think him and his people want to try to target Saunders and make it a clean sweep with that WBO. I mean, I think that's really his only play. He's not going to get Saunders. Saunders has talked a great game, called Canelo all kinds of names and everything like that, but that's really his big play. After that, he's got to look at mandatories. Daniel Jacobs is going to be the next mandatory in the WBA. Daniel Jacobs is going to look to secure a fight with, what's his name, Andy Lee.
Andy Lee.
He's going to look to secure a fight with Andy Lee in July. That fight's not going to happen. He doesn't want to fight Triple G. So if I'm Triple G, I do anything I can to get Andy Lee in the ring and then become the unified champion.
You mean Billy Joe Saunders?
Billy Joe Saunders, yeah. 323-870-3857 if you want to weigh in. So, yeah, and Canelo, going back to the Canelo thing, man, he has been taking a beating in social media. Triple G and Gilbert Ramirez both clowned Canelo on Twitter this week. Triple G actually posted a meme of Canelo, the meme saying, Triple G, give me my belt, and then Canelo just simply saying okay, with his head down and the belt around his waist. Gilberto Ramirez had the movie picture, the movie poster of The Bodyguard, that, you know how Kevin Costner was lifting Whitney Houston up in that picture. And
right.
The faces were replaced with Ramirez carrying Canelo with the caption to protect Mexican pride from the beast Triple G. So there you go.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Again,
right.
I think Triple G is going to get criticized because people are going to say, "Well, he's not fighting anybody." Well, what do you do when nobody wants to fight you?
He's got a couple of. I'll tell you what. He's got a couple of people that really want to fight him. Number one was Erislandy Lara, and that fight may or may not happen. But the other one is, and I think it's a really good fight. Chris Eubank Jr. wants to fight Triple G. Chris Eubank Jr. wants to fight Triple G in September. He has a fight coming up with Tom Duran in June 25th. If he gets past him, which he's favored to do. Tom Duran is no slouch. He's a good fighter, but I favor Chris Eubank in that. He wants to fight Triple G in September. Chris Eubank also gives him leverage. He just signed with Matchroom, so that fight can actually happen. Beeb, what are your thoughts on that?
Interesting fight, but I just don't see anyone beating Triple G right now.
It's a tall order, no question. It's a tall order for Eubank, who lost to Saunders. Saunders is a completely different fighter than Triple G. Eubank has improved since that Saunders loss. So, but again, yeah, it's a very tall order for Saunders.
And keep a couple of things in mind. Triple G has 2 streaks going. He's got 16 consecutive title defenses and 22 consecutive knockouts. So.
602. You're on live with Ringside Reporter.
There we go. Okay.
602.
602. You're on. Hello.
All right. We're gonna have to put him back on hold. He had another show going on, and
all right.
Couldn't hear anything, so we'll come back to him.
Okay.
So Chris Eubank again signs with Matchroom. 323-870-3857 if you want to talk. Let's talk about, let's move on from the Canelo thing. Let's talk about Deontay Wilder here. Deontay Wilder is lawyering up to get his $4.6 million that he feels is owed to him. He scheduled a fight with Alexander Povetkin, but obviously the fight was canceled because of Povetkin's use of a banned substance. Wilder states, "We're definitely seeking legal action into me getting my money. I want my money. I still want my money for this fight. I did all the right things. I deserve it. I should be compensated. And that's how it should go. We're sitting tight, waiting on the final verdict of the WBC. Hopefully they do the right thing and we get past this," Wilder said. Now, Povetkin, his promoter, has said the money is in the bank under terms of escrow. Wilder's team has already written a letter to the bank telling them not to return the money to us, and we wrote that once the fight takes place, they will get the money. That's Rabinsky, which is Povetkin's promoter's name. What do you think about this? Should Wilder really get paid the $4.6 million for not fighting?
Eric, in this case, I believe he should because the other guy failed a drug test. It's not the other fighter's fault that the guy he was supposed to fight failed a drug test. I believe he should get paid. Now, whether he does, that's a different story. But I believe in a case where one fighter fails a drug test, the other fighter should get paid. That's just my opinion.
I think he has a great case, but a big part of it will depend on what the WBC chooses to do. Because if Povetkin is stripped of his ranking and is suspended for 6 months by the WBC, then yeah, I mean, he has a right. He has a good, strong case because he followed his contract, and Povetkin did not follow his contract. They both signed the same contract, and one guy followed the contract and uphold the regulations of the contract, and one guy did not. And if the WBC is going to, not mandate this fight any longer, then again, Wilder has a great point. He did everything he was supposed to do. He didn't do anything wrong, and the other guy is the one who screwed the fight up for him. So it's his fault the fight did not take place. So I think at the very least, Wilder should get something.
I think so too. I think he should get something. Now, whether he gets $4.6 million, I don't know, because the fight didn't take place. Now, granted, the other guy did screw up, and it wasn't Wilder's fault he screwed up. But at the same time, I mean, it's a hard case for me to hear when you want $4.6 million, which is the full purse of the fight. That's a hard thing to, that's a hard pill to swallow, especially if I'm Povetkin's promoter.
Yeah, well, I don't feel sorry for Povetkin or his promoter because his guy screwed up. And it's a breach of contract, and I think Wilder should do everything he can to get his money.
Well, what's the WBC going to do here? I mean, it's been, I don't know. Well, I guess it hasn't been a week yet, but... Well,
the WBC, I think, can suspend. It would be the one suspending Povetkin. Yes, I mean,
yeah.
They would say Povetkin would no longer be the mandatory, and if that's the case, then that deal's off. Then he cannot, he's not the mandatory. There's no tie there to fight.
Right. So. No,
it's been about a week though. The WBC has
the fight was supposed to take place on Saturday, Beeb.
Yeah.
So
but it was announced over a week ago that it would not take place.
That is correct. Yeah.
So what are they going to do now? They have to come out with a statement saying what's going to happen now if they're going to because they're still saying the fight is postponed, but it hasn't officially been canceled yet. So as it stands right now, Povetkin is still the number one contender in the WBC.
Yeah,
so
well, I
think
they
have to make a decision.
They have to make it, and I don't really think there's much of a decision to make. Look, the guy was busted. The guy was busted with performance-enhancing drugs. There's not really much of a decision to make. You suspend him,
no,
just like
right.
you suspend everybody else. Because if you don't set this precedent, seriously, if you don't set this precedent, why did you cancel the fight to begin with?
Now, remember, we've got two WBC different things going on here with two different fights. One got postponed or canceled, whatever you want to call it, and the other one's going to be allowed to continue. The WBC needs to come out with a strong statement on how they're going to handle these situations because right now they look like a bunch of flip-floppers.
Well, I do have some information about the other fight there, the Vargas fight.
Okay, go ahead.
What had happened was they continued to test Vargas, and the subsequent tests did come up negative. So, and the thing is, with Povetkin, he didn't request a B sample. So when you don't request a B sample, that's almost an admission of guilt.
That's right.
So what Vargas did was he said, okay, well, test me again. And they tested him again, and he was negative.
But the commission tested him, not VADA.
Yeah, because VADA wouldn't do it again, though.
Right, VADA was the one that caught him.
Yeah, once you fail, then they don't have to do it again. But they didn't.
Why should they? Yeah.
Yeah, but they didn't offer him a B sample either, though. I don't know why. Normally they offer you a B sample.
I mean, VADA's kind of, those are like the industry standard. I mean, those are the people that do the Olympics, aren't they?
Yep.
Oh, so yeah. They're
I
supposed
mean,
to
let's
be
face it. If he gets busted in the Olympics, if this is an Olympic athlete, he gets busted. There is no plan B for him. He's done.
I'm not sure about that.
Now the
though.
commission goes and says, "Go ahead." I'm sorry.
I think they do allow you to get a B sample, and then if you fail the B sample, then it's conclusive.
But that was the thing, and that was why the fight was allowed to go on, because the California Athletic Commission didn't test him, didn't test Vargas. So they say, okay, well, wait a minute, since we didn't test him and VADA tested him, the fight can still go on. As long as we test him from here on out, we'll test him from here on out. And if he fails the test, then obviously the fight's off. But as long as he's okay now, it's like they didn't trust the VADA test, which is garbage.
Oh yeah, that's my
excuse. Still a nonsense.
That's my whole problem with this, Eric. You would think a commission would have to trust the number one drug testing agency. The
one problem I have with Povetkin is he could have gotten a B sample from VADA and he refused. He didn't request it. That's the one problem I have. That's a red flag.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, that's a red flag.
No, I don't blame.
Really has to suspend him for this. I mean, I don't think there's any question about that.
And I don't blame Wilder. I think he needs to fight for every dime he can get.
Yeah, I think so. At the very least, like I said, I mean, something. I mean, you should get compensated something.
Yeah, he should get compensated for something. I don't know if he's going to get the whole 4.6, but I wouldn't mind seeing him get the whole 4.6.
I wouldn't either. I wouldn't be mad at that. Yeah, I wouldn't be mad at that.
I mean, besides, you've got to teach boxing promoters and people a valuable lesson, and what way to do that when you have to pay your opponent the $4.6 million he agreed to.
Well, not only that, though. Look, think of just the arrogance of this Russian promoter, Ivinsky, right? He's already saying that without any doubt that this fight is going to be rescheduled, and he hasn't heard any final decision from the WBC yet. Who does this guy think he is?
He's just somebody with a lot of money to throw away. It looks like.
Yeah, he's got deep pockets for sure, and he might end up using those for sure.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. I'm totally interested, and I'm immensely
This is
curious.
very fascinating. This issue right here with Deontay Wilder, and the issue with Vargas and Salido, just fascinate me. Because again, they're on two completely different sides of the same coin on this. You have the WBC going one way, and if they suspend Povetkin, which I'm wondering why, they haven't made a decision yet, and if they suspend Povetkin from the WBC, what is that saying? I mean, Rubinsky, Povetkin's promoter, has got to know he knows what's going on just as well as anybody else. So he's going to look at this issue and say, hey, you didn't suspend these guys. These guys are fighting. Why am I not fighting?
So you think that this shows total inconsistency here?
Yeah,
absolutely inconsistency.
Okay. All right.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Because you've got two sides of different coins here. On one hand, you've got a fight canceled and a fighter that should be suspended, but on the other hand, you're going to allow the second fight to continue, and no wonder why people complain about sanctioning bodies, because on this case alone, they've given two different kinds of rulings, and it looks very weak, very inconsistent, and if somebody wanted to take these cases to court, the WBC wouldn't look very good here.
Yeah, the sanctioning bodies are awful. I mean, you got these guys here who are, one guy failed, the WBC, who lets one guy fail a drug test and fight, one guy failed a drug test and now he's not fighting, then they cancel the fight, which doesn't make any sense because it's a bigger fight, and then you got the WBA who, is like the old professional wrestling days where they got 50,000 titles. Everybody who fights under the WBA has got a title. I'm interim. I'm the TV champ. I'm the Intercontinental WBA champion.
Yeah.
The hardcore champ. Who's the hardcore champ? Like Robert's the hardcore champ.
I'm the WBA national title champion.
Yeah, it's like, give me a break here.
Unbelievable, man.
That's so funny.
Let's move on to our favorite segment, the train wreck of the week. And today it's the train wrecks of the week. Jermaine Taylor and Paul Spadafora. Both dodge jail time. Jermaine Taylor was lucky enough to dodge jail this week. Taylor needs to complete 120 hours of community service, pay fines and court costs, and pass regular drug screening tests, which probably will be difficult. And that, all that being said, he will not serve the 19-year sentence for his role in multiple violent incidents, including, shooting a gun in a crowded area, that kind of thing. Shooting, did he shoot his cousin or he shot some? I don't know. He shot
somebody in the leg, I thought.
Yeah, he shot somebody in the leg or something.
Jesus
Yeah.
Christ.
There was some gunplay there. Let's just say that.
Piece of work.
Yeah.
But, he's going to avoid jail time. How about that? Paul Spadafora also dodged jail time this week, the Pittsburgh kid. Prosecutors have withdrawn charges against former lightweight boxing champ Paul Spadafora, who was accused of holding a knife in front of a convenience store worker. Police said last month that Spadafora, known as the Pittsburgh Kid, appeared to be yelling at a convenience store clerk while drunkenly holding a blueberry muffin with a tactical knife. Defense attorney, this is beautiful. This is like Johnny Cochran type stuff right here. Defense attorney Phil DeLucente tells the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette that Spadafora was using his knife to put cream cheese on the muffin. Charges in the incident were withdrawn on Tuesday. A preliminary hearing is scheduled on Thursday for charges in an incident hours earlier at a suburban Pittsburgh bar where Spadafora say he had a 63-year-old woman in a headlock, drank her beer, and threw her to the pavement when she called police. My question here, who spreads cream cheese on a blueberry muffin? All right, who uses? All right, nobody put. That's my question. Yeah, Lisa just looked at me and said, "That's your big question." That's my big question. My second big question is who spreads cream cheese on with a tactical knife? Who does that?
Hey, if the glove don't fit, you must have quit.
If the glove doesn't fit.
If you're in the army and you're in the field and that's all you have is a tactical knife, then yeah,
I would go along with that.
But the Beeb special is peanut butter and jelly on a blueberry muffin.
That's right.
Not cream cheese. That's
Who puts
blasphemous.
cream cheese on a blueberry? Nobody puts cream cheese on a blueberry muffin.
That's blasphemous.
Come on. Lise,
Robbie,
you put cream cheese on a blueberry muffin?
Hell no.
Robbie, you did it once though. Tell the truth.
No, hell no.
All right.
Yeah.
Lise frequents Starbucks Lise frequents Starbucks a lot. She gets blueberry muffins. I've never seen her once put cream cheese on that blueberry muffin.
What about peanut butter and jelly? What about peanut butter and jelly?
What about peanut butter and jelly? With peanut butter and jelly on it? She just said ooh.
No.
You don't like the Beeb special? Come on.
The Beeb special. She just shot down the Beebs. How dare you shoot down the Beeb special?
Well, you've got to shoot down Britain's adopted son once in a while.
There you go.
Yeah.
323-870-3857 if you want to weigh in. The WBC says no to professional boxers in the Olympics. The WBC took to Twitter this week and proclaimed that any boxer that fights in the Olympics would be banned from the WBC for 2 years. Unless you're eating clenbuterol, unless you're doing clenbuterol, then you're invited right back in. Then you're welcome.
Yeah. That whole thing just doesn't make a whole lot of.
I've never been a fan of this pro boxers in the Olympics. You're having guys who are used to fighting 12 rounds. They're going to fight 3 rounds, and they're going to fight against guys who just never been in there with pros before. It's just too much.
No, and as I covered last week,
no headgear.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, no.
Well, that's what I said. I mean, that's why I didn't really disagree with the story that much because, if they're going to have pros in the Olympics, then why would they have headgear?
See, but that's the whole problem. If you have pros in the Olympics, unless it's fair on both sides, you're going to have a pro against a kid, and how fair is that? I mean,
well, you know what it's going to be like you know what it's going to be like? It's going to be like when they put the Dream Team in basketball up against everybody, and they got like Michael Jordan when pros were allowed in there, and they got the basketball team together. They got Larry Bird, Michael Jordan. I mean, it was just that super team.
Yeah,
and
that was in '92.
Whipping teams. Yeah, they were just whipping teams like 100-20. I mean, it was just ridiculous.
Well, let me ask you this though. I mean, it's still not going to help the American boxing team because I don't think a lot of American boxers are going to want to go in the Olympics because they want to make money.
Right.
You
Why
know
would
what I
you go in there for free? I mean, just so you can get a gold medal? How much money you make? You buy a gold medal, you know?
Well, and a lot of Americans don't want to go to this particular Olympics because of that Zika stuff, that virus that's going around Brazil. You hear a lot of
that's been around for years. You know that's been around since like the 70s. That's not even a new thing, that Zika virus.
No, I know, Eric, but you have a lot of Olympic people who are supposed to go to Rio that are openly saying we don't really want to go. You know?
That's tough. You qualify, you're going. That's it.
Yeah.
That's it. Yeah. Who cares about the Zika virus anyway? You qualify, you're gone. All right. That's it. Now, you guys, you may not like pro boxers in the Olympics. You're going to love this next story. Manny Pacquiao has expressed interest in boxing in the Olympics. Pacquiao said of the possibility, I need to ask the Filipino people if they will allow me to participate in the Olympics. Are you serious?
Excuse me, but you just won a Senate seat, and from what I've been told about the political process over there in the Philippines, there's no time for training, so how the hell are you going to go to Rio? I mean, somebody explain that to me.
Idiot.
No. Stay the hell out of the boxing ring and focus on political things, and may we never hear you in the news again, period.
I agree. Let's go back to 602.
I think
you were on the air.
I can't remember what the number was. But it was either
602.
I want to say 10 or 20 billion. Something in that range is what I want to say.
Go ahead and put him on mute.
Yeah, I muted him.
Yeah. And boy, do I recognize that voice.
Well, that's good because I didn't recognize it. So if you guys know who it is, hey, that's great. All
yeah,
right, so let's talk about.
Do.
Let nothing get in the way of the sports you love.
Hello.
Yeah. All right, what in the world is that?
Probably him again.
No, he's on mute.
Okay, what do we got here then?
All right, so
we got it.
All right, so let's talk about this. Adrian Bronner's new song, Slammer. Adrian Bronner drops his new video called Slammer. The song rips TMT and Floyd Mayweather. The video has tons of clips of Cincinnati, shows Bronner coming out of the Justice Center, running the track at the University of Cincinnati, tons of shots of downtown, beautiful downtown Cincinnati, the Queen City, the most amazing skyline there is. I have to admit, though, the song is very catchy. Beeb, you're a fan.
Do you have it to play?
I do not. I
never heard this song. I'm gonna have to download this song.
You got to download it, man.
Where can you download it? Where can you download it? Is it on like TMZ or something?
Just go to YouTube and type in Slammer. Adrian Bronner Slammer, and then you can hear it.
Okay.
Wow. Yeah, I gotta definitely hear that one.
Absolutely.
After all, he's talking about his favorite place in the whole world.
There you go. Kell Brook and Jesse Vargas is close to a done deal. Jesse Vargas has agreed to fight Kell Brook in a welterweight unification title fight. Brook is the welterweight IBF champion. Of course, Vargas is the WBO champion. I gotta be honest, man. I think this is a great fight for Kell Brook. In the sense, I think it's a good fight. Like I said, like Stewart had commented earlier, that it gives him leverage and everything like that. But man, I tell you, I don't know, man. To me, I expected a bigger name for Kell Brook. I expected them to get him a bigger fight. It is a big fight, but Well,
like I said earlier, Eric, I think the only reason why Jesse Vargas got chosen here is because he's got a belt. Otherwise, I think they would be going after a bigger name. I think Eddie Hearn sees Jesse Vargas as the weakest link in the division, and I think that's why this fight was made.
No, I agree too, man. I think it's just another belt that they want to put in their war chest, and just definitely kind of a promotional tool, something to use for leverage. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's a negotiation tool. If you have two belts, when you go to say negotiate with say Danny Garcia or Keith Thurman or Sean Porter, whoever wins that fight, you've got leverage because you got two belts.
Yeah, I agree.
This is very cool, too. Liam Smith, who we mentioned earlier in the show, is targeting Kell Brook. WBO junior middleweight champ Liam Smith makes the third defense of his title on June 4th. After that, he wants to fight with IBF welterweight champion Kell Brook. This is a gigantic fight in the UK. Do you think it happens?
No, because I think Liam Smith gets Canelo first.
That's what I'm wondering about that. I don't know. I mean, I think that I don't know if that fight actually comes off. Liam Smith, I know from what I understand, Canelo is actually they're sending feelers out to Liam Smith and everything like that. But I think Lorenzo made a lot of sense in this call earlier, and what we talked about. I think that David Lemieux is the biggest fight out there for Canelo right now.
I agree.
I think the David Lemieux fight's going to be next. I think no question about it.
I think so, too. Do you think if the David Lemieux fight is next, do you think Liam Smith and Kell Brook get it on?
Yes. I think that fight's going to happen, too.
Yep.
They need a big UK fight.
I think after Brook beats Vargas, I think that'll be a UK special, and you could put that in Wembley Stadium probably.
I agree.
That's going to be a big fight, man. That's going to be a big fight. But I mean, do you think? Well, I don't know. I mean, yeah. I mean, it's definitely a big fight for sure. My thing is, if Kell Brook has both belts, then is there bigger money for him in the welterweight division?
Well, yeah, because you could fight Danny Garcia, you could fight the winner of Porter and Thurman.
Right, so that's what I'm saying though. Does he actually fight Liam Smith though at that point?
I think he's going to move up to 154, Kell Brook, because he's a big guy. And,
he's very big, yeah.
Yeah, he's a huge. He's probably the biggest welterweight in the division, really, in terms of overall size. And I think he's going to go up to fight Liam Smith. I think it's a great money.
That's why I think that.
Fight.
That's why I think that fight will happen, because I think Brook will go up and try to get that title, and then of course he'll have to give up the two welterweight titles.
Yeah, I think so too. I don't know, man. I think I don't know. I think Kell Brook is going to be at welterweight for a while. Just because, like I said, man, just because there's so much money there, and I think that the money he can make in the welterweight division it beats whatever money he's going to make with Liam Smith. You know what I mean?
Well, keep one thing in mind, Eric. If Canelo keeps avoiding guys like Triple G, if Brook moves up and say fights Liam Smith, Brook and Canelo could eventually fight.
That's possible. I mean, yeah, if he moves up, but I think the fight to make, man, I think Canelo or Triple G is going to target, or Canelo is going to target Triple G, and I think that Kell Brook is going to stay. I'll be surprised. I'll put it this way: I'll be surprised if the Liam Smith fight comes off.
Okay.
If it comes off, I think it comes off at a catchweight versus for anybody's title. I think it comes off more of a catchweight fight. Check this out now. Friend of the show, Francisco Santana will square off against Jose Benavidez on July 23rd. I think that's a great fight for him.
Oh, that'll probably be on the undercard of the Crawford Postal fight, right?
I think it is. Yeah, I think it is actually on the Crawford Postal fight. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, earlier on, TMZ has reported that Floyd Mayweather has reportedly made a $50 million offer to Conor McGregor for a fight. However, sources have told TMZ that Floyd has not approached Dana White yet, and that's the guy you need to convince.
Yeah, you can't negotiate anything with Conor until you deal with Dana first.
Right, exactly. Now the funny thing is that Dana White and Conor McGregor had a meeting this week, and it went great. It was at Beverly Hills. They met for a couple hours. Everybody was all smiles before and after. Then he went to Stockton. Then Dana White flew to Stockton and did the same thing with Nate Diaz, trying to make they're going to try to make the Conor McGregor-Nate Diaz fight for UFC 202.
Okay.
They were all smiles beforehand, and reports are that Dana White stormed out of wherever they were meeting at. He stormed out and just left. So that meeting did not go as planned, and there is no McGregor rematch with Diaz for UFC 202 for what that's worth, you know.
Okay.
So the Floyd Mayweather-Conor McGregor train is really, has stayed in the news for quite a while now. A video was leaked with Chris Van Heerden sparring Conor McGregor, And I got to tell you, McGregor didn't look all that good against Chris Van Heerden, who's a world-class fighter too. He just didn't look great, put it that way. He got some shots in, and so did Van Heerden, but it didn't look all that great for him, for sure.
Well, Chris didn't look too good in his last fight either, so.
No, he sure didn't. And he didn't look good against Errol Spence either. Also, too, now this next story comes from TMZ also. Floyd Mayweather spends one note on haircuts. That's gangster talk for $1,000. And he gets his haircut multiple times a week. So he drops like, what, $3,000-$4,000 a week on haircuts. That's about what Beeb spent on haircuts. I mean, this is nuts.
Big dime piece.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah, he's gonna fight again. If you're thinking that he's not gonna fight again, he's fighting again. All right, don't get it twisted. He's fighting again.
Look, Eric, what is this show? What is this Show 66 we've done? I think something like that. In almost every show we've done since Floyd is so-called retired, we've always had a story. We've always had a story each week about how much money Floyd Mayweather is spending on this or spending on that. I mean, people, he's going to fight again because, my God, he can't keep this up.
Not at all. There's no way. There's no way you can keep this up, man.
Yeah.
As Robert talked about on his history lesson, HBO's pay-per-view goal for Postol and Crawford is 75,000 buys for Victor Postol and Terrence Crawford. 75,000 buys is the break-even point for the pay-per-view. I think that it actually got a chance to do that. While I think it does, I'm not sure it's a good idea to still put this on pay-per-view. I mean, the fight's not going to make either guy a pay-per-view star, even get him even in that market. So
no, I still think it needs to be on regular HBO, and Showtime is still kicking HBO's butt as far as boxing schedules are concerned.
I agree.
It's ridiculous.
I agree. It's not even close. I mean, it's not even close. Yeah, it's a one-sided whitewash there.
I mean, if you're an HBO subscriber, you got to ask yourself, why do you want to keep your subscription? You know.
All right, so let me ask you this here. What do you guys think of this? I'm gonna start a weekly segment called "Why I Hate the WBA." The WBA is going to order the Sean Porter, Keith Thurman winner to fight next. Okay, that's okay. I don't have any problems with them ordering somebody to fight. The problem is they're going to order them to fight the winner of Shane Mosley versus David Avanesyan. The winner of those two are going to fight
Eric,
Keith Thurman.
If
Mosley somehow wins that fight, he's going to be the mandatory.
Yeah.
Somebody explain that to me.
On name recognition, I hate
Bobby, please.
What?
Please, name recognition.
Well, let me finish my point, Joe.
Okay.
Look, I don't think it's a good idea, but for a lot of casual fans out there who remotely follow boxing, they're going to know who Shane Mosley is. So if Mosley happens to win his fight this weekend, it's going to be a good promotional tool for whoever wins that fight. I don't agree with it, but, I can also see why they're doing it.
But Robbie.
Yeah?
People are going to always remember your last couple of fights. They're going to remember Mosley against Canelo. They're going to remember Mosley against Pacquiao. And they're going to remember Mosley against Mayweather. And that's the image that they're going to have stuck in their head. And they're going to be saying to themselves, I don't think this guy has it anymore.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
I agree with your opinion. I'm not disagreeing with that, but I can see it from a casual's point of view why they would want to do something like this. I don't agree with the move, but I can also see why they're doing it.
All right.
So what do you think of Mosley getting the shot if he wins?
Well, like I said, I don't agree with it, Eric, because I think he'll get destroyed by either guy, but and I don't even know how Shane Mosley gets himself ranked in a situation like this because he hasn't really beaten anybody in quite some time.
He saved a baby, Robert. He saved a baby, and you're still piling on this guy.
Well,
what's the matter with you? What's the matter with you?
I'm going by what happens in the squared circle, brother.
You think that's why you got ranked, Eric? Because you saved the baby?
Why not? I would rank him as he saved a baby. I don't have any problems with it. Yeah, he saved a baby. Of course he's going to get ranked. It's a WBA.
Okay.
It's not like they have the high standards over there.
I helped
they got
the lady
multiple
across
champions.
the street. I helped the lady across the street yesterday. Can I get ranked in the top 10?
You're number 6 right now. What do you want? I mean,
well, hey, Beeb, if you were ranked, which champion would you want to fight?
Right now?
Yeah.
Probably Keith Thurman because he runs a lot. I don't want to fight Porter because he'll be up in my chest.
Okay.
All right. Bob Arum is in the news this week. He settled a lawsuit with Al Heyman. Now, here's the deal with this. Not a lot is really known on this, except that the lawsuit has been settled. Terms of the settlement were ordered to be kept confidential, as was an explanation of why the deal was made between the longtime bitter rivals.
Oh, that's not fair.
Right? When I know. I was looking at this. I'm like, seriously? I'm trying to, find everything out I can on, why this is, why this got said. Nothing, man.
Joint dismissal. So in legal terms, that is a stalemate. That's a no contest. But who really wins here?
It doesn't sound like absolutely nobody. So what was the point of the lawsuit?
Well, I tell you, I think Heyman wins. I mean, what is it? How much was that? $300 million or something crazy?
No,
some kind of crazy lawsuit.
Yeah,
I mean, that money.
It was $300 million for the top rank and $100 million for the Golden Boy, I believe.
Anytime you save yourself $300 million in lawsuits, you're the winner, buddy. All right, no question about that.
I mean, the ones that really win here on both sides are the lawyers, man.
Oh yeah, can you imagine how much they got paid?
Yeah.
My goodness, yeah. Everybody is in the wrong line of work, man. If you're one of the lawyers on that team, you got paid handsomely.
Oh yeah.
No doubt, man. Well, what about some final thoughts here, Beeb? You got any final thoughts?
Well, the amazing thing is a lot of us were looking forward to this Deontay Wilder-Alexander Povetkin fight this weekend, and we were bummed out it didn't happen. But we still got a ton of good boxing this weekend, even with not having that fight. So I'm pretty happy about that. Looks like we're going to have a busy summer, and I'm real curious to see what the WBC is going to do. And I'll be expecting a Canelo Lemieux announcement probably by the end of next week. And another interesting thing is, let's see if this Floyd Mayweather-Conor McGregor thing really has legs. Because, again, it's not a super fight, but it is a super event. And I think it would do very well. I think people will buy it. And I think it'd be interesting to see, if that does come off. And I think Dana White, with all of the money involved, possibly could co-sign on this if he's going to be compensated well for it.
I think so too. Robert, what about you? What about your final thoughts here?
I'm in the minority here, but I hope we don't see that.
Will you buy it, Robbie? Will you buy it?
He's going to buy it. He's a degenerate. Of course he is.
Joe, if the fight actually happens, I have to buy it because we got to talk about it. So
you have to. You have to. Just like this is Russia. This isn't Russia, son. You don't have to do it.
Yeah, you can get a pass.
I'll be honest with you guys.
You don't want to talk about it, Robbie.
I'll be honest with you guys. The last boxing pay-per-view I did not buy was Timothy Bradley and Juan Manuel Marquez. Okay, I have not missed a boxing pay-per-view since, and I never buy a UFC pay-per-view because that's not my thing. But if this fight happens, I'm going to have to buy it because we got to talk about it. I can't do my job if I don't. So,
Bobby, you mean to tell me you did not buy Ronda Rousey Holly Holm?
Yeah,
no.
Right? Oh, that's horrible, man. That's horrible.
I am shocked. What are you
doing?
I don't buy UFC pay-per-views. I mean that.
Never.
No.
Ever. Oh my God.
No, I have never bought a UFC pay-per-view.
All right, Robbie. I'll buy you one week.
That's right.
I'm a
the next
boxing
pay-per-view
guy.
is on Joe. All right? Next pay-per-view is on Joe.
I'll buy you one, Robbie, all right?
Yeah, that's right.
I'm a boxing guy, okay?
Hey, Robbie.
All right, well, listen, man, that'll do it for this edition of Ringside Reporter. As always, you can catch Robert on Twitter at Ringside Robert, or you can call Ringside Robbie's Corner at 773-572-7781. And listen to all the podcasts and fights. He also does the history lessons. That's going to be really good, so be on the lookout for those. You can catch Joe Habib on Twitter at jhabib1 and find his YouTube channel at www.beatingtheoddswithbeeb.com. I'm at Ringside73, and we will see you next week.
Don't let those other guys make your family share data. Switch to T-Mobile now and get 4 lines with up to 6 gigs each of 4G LTE data. Just $30 a line and no sharing. So ditch your data worries and switch to the Un-carrier today. Get to T-Mobile or call 1-800-T-MOBILE.
Limited time offers plus taxes and fees. Capable device required. Coverage not available in some areas. See store for details.